Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 21 Days of Business. If this is the first time you're catching this video series, welcome. My name is Yasmin Salem Hamden. I'm the founder of coachesandcompany.com, and we are your go-to digital destination for all things legal in your entrepreneurial journey. And through the month of November, we're going to be sharing interviews with our guest experts, each day answering your questions as they relate to your business. Today, we are chatting with our lovely guest, Megan Yelaney, about how you can stand out from the crowd by developing your own unique coaching method and how you can create a business and a signature offer that is authentic to you. Not run of the mill. We're not here for anything basic. We're here to stand out and really connect and be magnetized to those people that we are most able to support and serve. I'm super excited for our conversation today. Hey, Meg.
Hi, me too. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So for those that are not familiar with you, if you wouldn't mind sharing a bit about yourself, please.
Of course. Yeah. So first I have a handheld mic because I am a actress and singer as well, more for fun, but we were talking before and I was like, why do I still have a handheld mic? I love it. I don't know. It's very part of my brand. So we'll just go with it.
Comes naturally.
It does. I'm going to just break out into song. But my name is Megan. I have been in the online space actually since 2012. I started a network marketing business, but went more into my own business outside of that and built a health and wellness business in 2017. And then quickly realized what I was meant to do was business and life coaching. So I mainly coach online coaches and service providers to really build their own unique method and stand out on social media by marketing what makes them unique, marketing what makes them different. Especially in today's day and age, it's getting more and more crowded out there, but doesn't mean that you can't still see success. You've just got to be a little bit more creative and not hide the things that you might think are different or weird or quirky. Those are actually the things that we need to leverage. And so that's really what I help people do. And I help different ranges of entrepreneurs, people just starting, bringing their skills just to the online space and wanting to go full time, as well as I have programs that serve higher level entrepreneurs who've just been in it for quite a long time and want to play bigger, go bigger, do all those awesome fun things. So in a nutshell, that's what we do over here.
I love it. I love it. So let's just kick things off by discussing why is it so important to have a unique coaching methodology as a coach working with clients?
Yeah, no, I love this question. And it's funny, this whole unique coaching method came to me really in early 2020, but I've actually been doing it with clients since I pretty much started business coaching. I just didn't realize it. And why it's so important is one of the biggest things I saw was I had so many clients like just on that cusp of breakthroughs. You know what I mean? Where it's that image where the guy is like hitting rock and he's trying to find gold and he gives up. And then the next guy comes and finds the gold, that kind of thing. Like they were so close to a breakthrough. And there was like, what is that thing? And we realized it was them going all in on their brand, their expertise, and really identifying who they're willing to and willing not to work with. And that's really scary to do. And that's when things started taking off for them. When they said, hey, yes, sure, I am a quote unquote social media coach or business coach or life coach or lawyer, whatever it is, but they got really specific in what was their approach. Why was it different? And then like, how can they actually infuse a little bit of their personality in themselves, especially if you're a service provider or coach working more intimately with people. We want to hire people we like and that we relate to and that we think we could just have fun with too, besides just they can help us. And it's so important now because it really helps you stand out from everyone else copying the same frameworks, buying the same courses. If we all just did that, it would literally just be the same thing over and over again. And your client will go right past it, right? It's like, no one's going to pay attention to that. So that's one of the biggest reasons it's so important. The second is, I think comparison is at an all-time high right now because so many people are joining social media and building their business, which is awesome, but it's also a little scary in some ways. And it really helps you lower that comparison and not compare as much, because when I have something that truly is unique because it's a combination of my skill set, my personality, and who I help, my approach, no one's going to be the same. Literally no one is competition if you think of it like that. So it lessens it. I won't say it negates it because we all are human, but it massively lowers it, which is really, really huge. When you hold on to that, you just hold back so much of what you can do. And then the third is to not just attract anyone, but attract the right people for you. I love the way, and I'm sure a lot of people listening have had this experience or in this experience now, working with clients or people that you're just like, oh, this is not my person. This is not, not
It's not a
working.
good fit. It's not a good fit.
No. And so that's like a huge reason too, when you get really clear on what your approach is, what you do and don't do, what you stand for and you don't stand for, you will attract and repel people in a good way. And all of this to be said, I have had a really great client retention rate, and my clients who use this process have as well, because while we might get less inquiries, we get the right inquiries. And when we get on calls, 90% of the time, they're the right client. So in my book, that's a win-win. So those are like the three main reasons I recommend doing this.
Yes, love it. All right, so where do we begin? So if we're like, I'm sold, I recognize I need to have a unique coaching methodology. I recognize that I need to infuse more of myself into my approach. Having that unique coach approach, as you put it, I believe. Where do we start?
You just said it. So perfect segue. Yeah, no, 100%. There's so many ways you could start this, but the first way I recommend people starting is by identifying what your approach is. So it doesn't matter if you're a coach, by the way, like lawyers could do this, financial advisors could do this, anyone, right? If you just say like, I am a lawyer, I am a financial advisor, I am a mindset coach, great. But what is your approach? How is it different than maybe another lawyer, another financial advisor, another mindset coach? And so I've kind of defined these 4 different approaches. There's probably like 20 or unlimited if you really think about it, but just for ease. So you actually can go figure out what you lean to. If you go to my quiz, meganyelaney.com/quiz, it'll give you a nice little, it's fun quiz to take. And it gives you a
to it. Yeah, we'll link to it for sure.
Yay. And it's pretty easy. Even if, as I quickly describe them, you'll probably be like, oh, I know which one I am. But really defining what's your approach. So the 4 that I've seen most people fall under at least one of these is strategic. Like I am super strategic. That's my jam. If you ask me a mindset question, I will probably say, just do it. And that'll be my answer. Right. That's like that strategic person. They're very analytical, detail oriented, very smart, love facts and figures, all that jazz. Second is more mindset approach. And that's someone who will always think of, okay, what thoughts got me here? How can I think this through a little bit differently? How can I maybe believe something a little differently, shift that? They truly do go to their mindset first versus like, okay, I have to fix this with strategy. The third approach is more aspirational. And as I'm like developing these a little bit more, I'm realizing that aspirational is also very much a marketing approach. So as you take this, you might actually be one of those other 3, and aspirational might be more in the way you market, just as a sidebar. But aspirational is kind of like your typical influencer, for lack of a better term. They love sharing their life. They love sharing like, hey, this is my life and this can be yours too, right? You aspire to be like them. They want to be like you. And that's why they buy. They buy because they want to be like you. And when you're coaching from this perspective or doing your business from this perspective, wherever you fall in your industry, you're helping them embody it. It's like when people use the term embodiment, that's what I think of for this approach. It's like helping them be that person they want to be before maybe they even have the strategy, before maybe they even have the mindset, acting as if, in a way. And then the 4th and final is more of a spiritual approach. And this doesn't just have to be, this could be, you could refer to it as the universe or God. It could be spiritual practices or a specific religion. I don't want you to like try to put a label on it. It's more that you trust your intuition or a higher power when making decisions. So those are the 4. And that's the first step, is what of those approaches do you lean to? And you will probably go, I lean to all of them. Or I
was going to say, I feel like I can relate to each of those for sure.
Totally. It's kind of like the Enneagram in a sense where when I read through them, I'm like, well, I definitely have that. Okay. I have that. Yeah. We all have like all of them in us, but like all of us to our core have one we naturally lead with. Like if a client comes to you and says, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out, I have this problem, what's your first gut instinct? How do you initially respond? That's probably your approach, right? Yeah. And when I kind of teach this process, I always use 4 different business coaches as an example. One who's super strategic, like, again, don't come to her with mindset issues. She's going to be like, just do it. That's my response, which that's what she stands for though, and doesn't pretend that she's anything else, right? Then someone who's more mindset based, again, they're like, okay, let's think through this, et cetera. They coach you through it, so on and so forth. And so when you have this real specific approach, you immediately, those 4 business coaches stand out from each other. There's truly no competition, because someone is going to hire that strategic person knowing they better not go to them with a mindset issue. They better get a mindset coach for that.
Yeah.
Or they'll go to the mindset business coach because they know they'll get a little bit of both, right? Or they really want to work on their spirituality infused into their business, they'll go to the spiritual business coach. So it's just a really great way to, just in that, you already make yourself more niched and stand out. Even if someone else is also a spiritual business coach, for example, it's still way more specific than I'm just a business coach. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that brings up a great topic of continuing our education as coaches, as entrepreneurs, as leaders of our communities. I know that you're a proponent of continuing education. I think I remember you mentioning to me that you were in a training, maybe it was earlier this year or last year. So if you find that, personally, I lean towards the strategic, like that's the one that I think that's just a result of, like, that's just me personally. And then also my training and in the legal space and business and all of that.
Yeah.
But if I find that if I am, I'm not a coach, but if I am a coach and I am like, okay, I definitely identify with this one, but I want to enhance other areas, or I want to be a bit more well-rounded because I recognize that my people need this additional support. It sounds like you're saying it's possible to improve on and further bolster that skill.
Oh yeah, totally. And whether it's you improving on it or you saying, okay, I really want to live in the zone of genius, but I'm going to hire someone, an expert, to be like my right-hand person, right? Like they're always with me. They're always going to come in and do these guest trainings. That's great too. And this year I was in a certification for life coaching, and it's taken years to finish because I've done it slow, and it's a pretty long, intensive process, but we're so close. And that's because my lean is the mindset. I'm very, yes, it's business strategy, but like I will hold that space. I will be able to work through a lot of those struggles with you that a lot of strategic coaches can't do. Right. And that's because I've had the training, I've gone through it. I love that stuff. Where a very strategic business coach only will be like, oh, go away, I don't want to talk about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I got more training in it. And so I encourage you to, like, what is your natural instinct, and how can you, or what are you already really good at? How can you become great at that? And then how can you supplement the others with either guest speakers or continuing education if you're truly interested in it?
Yeah, absolutely. And now I'm thinking of, Topsy, I believe, right?
Of course.
Yes. I love Topsy. And I'm thinking now to her, a lot of her messaging is around, like, if you are a coach and you support your clients in XYZ way, but you're finding that they need this mindset support, they need the overcoming different blocks, and we're human beings, right? We're not robots. Like we all have these needs. We're all going to experience this, and it's a cycle, right? It's not just all right, I went through it and it was, I got through it and it's fine, and I'm never going to deal with this again. It's, as human beings, as part of the human experience. And so recognizing the importance, and I love that you brought that up, is recognizing, like, hey, this is where my zone of genius is. This is where I can really fully and in excellence support my clients and support my community. And if I desire to support them in another way, or if I find that they need additional support that's outside of my wheelhouse, I can. If I lean into that, if I find that I am inclined to, or if that feels right to me or feels good to me, I can continue my education and enhance my skill set so I can further support them in that way. Or another option is bring in those guest experts, bring in professionals that's their zone of genius, and they can truly serve from that place as well. So I love 100%. That.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I actually took Topsy's Destroy the Mindset Drama program because, again, I was like,
nice.
I want some of these skills. And it was so awesome. I'm like, this was amazing. So I totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely adore her. And she's doing good work.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing. We don't need to, I think I actually wrote this down in the not in the shower, but like right after the shower. Always comes to you in the shower, right?
Always, right? Always. I'll be hanging, like trying to grab my phone and like recording a voice note for later. Like that's my move.
You should get Aqua
those
notes.
In shower. Somebody has already suggested that to me, actually.
At my mastermind event, I gave those away in the goodie bags, and they loved it. They loved it.
Nice. So, I love it. Okay. So you wrote this down.
Yeah. So I had this download that I was like, oh, this is like perfect. And I was listening to a podcast, which inspired it. But I wrote down, and this isn't going to be exactly how I phrase it in a post, but similar.
Yeah.
Owning what I don't know and I'm not good at has helped me succeed in business even more than owning what I do know. And basically saying like, I think we like, I don't know the term, but we have this belief, I guess that's the term, that we have to be good at everything. Like if we're a business coach, we have to be good at every single thing in business. There's no way I'm giving legal advice. I'm sending them.
You don't want to be doing that.
I'm sending them to you. You know, same with financial. I have financial experts I bring in. Tatiana came in to do a call about team hiring. Now I know some stuff about it, but I'm not the expert. And I think that's something that with the approach, it's kind of similar to the first step is like, own what you're really great at and don't try to pretend you're great at other things. You are going to feel so unconfident talking about it. It's going to feel really icky. And you're going to be so stressed out. You're just not going to like your business. I did that a little bit in the beginning, very little. And I was like, oh gosh, no. I'm not good at this. I'm just kidding. I can't do this.
Yeah. And I mean, I imagine you did it from a good place, not in an attempt to like be something that you're not, but in an attempt to support your community in a way that you identified they needed to be supported. And your initial inclination is, okay, let me try and support you in that. Okay, wait. Yeah. It might be a disservice to you and to me and to my business for me to try to, I've said this before too, is like, I have thoughts on everything in business. I have thoughts on marketing. I have thoughts on offer creation. I have thoughts on sales strategy. I have thoughts on branding and messaging, but like, am I the person that, finances, of course, like I'm as a business owner, I deal with that as well, but do I need to be advising others on financial? No. Certainly not at this stage in my business, right? Because there's so much I have to learn and that's not my zone of genius. That's not my zone of excellence. Some of those areas it's barely in my zone of competence, right? So exactly. There's no reason for that.
And this process lets you go, okay, this is my unique method and I'm going to claim I'm going to own what I do know. And I'm going to outsource what I don't, or point you in the right direction, and just staying in the scope of like, what you know, and be really clear about that in your offer too, so that when people come in, they know, okay, this is what I'm getting, this is not. So when they ask for it, you can say, just remember, this is outside the scope of this, so I will send you to this person. And be confident with that. That's okay. Like that means you're in integrity in your business, which is a good thing.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. Totally. So when we get really clear on what our unique approach is and our unique methodology is, and we're going through this process of offer creation, there should be some market research taking place during that point, communicating with our audience, speaking with those, I know you call them soulmate clients. So what is your approach in that process? What do you recommend?
Yeah, totally. So that's definitely the first step. The second thing I would say to really support all that is start looking at your own personality. And I like using the Enneagram as a tool, but you can use anything that fits you, right? A lot of people love human design. I think it's so cool. I just don't know as much about it, honestly. I know I am a generator, but that's all I know.
I really don't know much about it either. I have a lot to learn.
Yeah, it's so fascinating though. It's so fascinating.
Yes, I was in a group that they brought in a trainer to teach us on that. And I was just like, but also I haven't fully wrapped my mind around it yet.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And I think they're all similar. They just tell you like why you act the way you are. And it's kind of these tests I think are nice because it almost gives us relief, like, oh, okay, like
everything makes sense now.
Permission to literally be yourself, which seems silly, but hey, that's why we like hire coaches usually, is we just want permission to do things that we should do. And so I always say that's like mostly what coaching is giving permission. But that's really the second part. Is the first is, okay, great. How do I stand out in my approach more like strategically? The second is, who are you at your core, right? Even if you didn't have this business, what are some personality traits? How are you motivated? What are some things you find funny? What do you love? What do you hate? What do you stand for? What do you stand against? And so starting to point that out and showing that. Literally, if you just do those first two steps, you will start standing out more, because at the end of the day, again, even you, I think you do such a great job of this. You sell legal, right? That could be something that's like, how do you put personality into legal? And boy, do you do it. Like, you so
I appreciate that
so well. And so you do anything. It could be the most seemingly mundane
If I
topic.
can do it, you can do it, y'all.
Yeah,
That's the
literally.
lesson here. If I can do it,
Yeah.
you can do it.
Like, I feel like accountants and lawyers do it. Anyone else can do it. My
Yes,
dad's an accountant.
exactly.
Like, but even my dad, he's an accountant, and he's like the most jolly Santa Clausy type man you would meet.
Aww.
Hands down, I know that's why people have stayed with him for years and years and years and years. It's
Yeah.
because that's his approach, right? And
Yep.
so that's my second thing is like, take your Enneagram or whatever personality test, and don't just take it and go, oh yeah, that's me, cool. Do other people know that? If I can't guess what your Enneagram is or your personality is based on your social media, then you need to do it more, right? If you come to my page, you probably know which mine are, right? And that's because that's been a huge piece. The old days of like the perfect curated feed are so over, which I'm so thankful for. Like,
oh, dude, tell me about it. I know.
Like, oh my God, I have to have a quote. It's too stressful. I never really did it. Right?
Hold on, that's straight up like first world entrepreneur problems. Like,
know,
oh my God, I need a quote. Like,
it's so ridiculous.
I need to have a perfectly staged desk shot of my coffee.
Right?
Like, yeah, no, we don't. What a waste of energy.
It's so crazy. And like my friend and one of my really amazing long-term clients, Eve, we used to joke around because we kind of like stopped doing that years ago because we just didn't have the energy for it. And you go back and look at our feeds, even today, it's like, not that beautiful. No one is hiring you because you have a pretty feed. I promise you. Nobody. So that is so out. I mean, I think personally, I love Reels, and I think Reels has been such an amazing place.
I love your Reels so much.
Thank you.
So good.
No, Reels are so funny. You'll like spend so much time on one that'll go crazy, and then you'll spend time on, or no time on one that pops off, and then spend an hour on one that gets like nothing. And you're like, what the heck? I thought that was so good.
It's so unpredictable. It's so unpredictable. Yeah.
But I just have fun doing it. Like I think that's the secret is I always enjoy the process. So I'm like, whatever this does, it does. I'm really truly enjoying the creation. So thank you, because I have fun with it. That's the thing. I make sure you know my personality. You can tell what I'm about. You can tell my sense of humor. Like, again, we want to hire humans, not robots, like you said, no matter what kind of entrepreneur you are. So that's the second step. Are you actually showing those? If you're not, start infusing more humor, start infusing more of your personality, share some of your personal life in a way that you feel comfortable, of course, and that relates to your business. When I shared about my separation story, which I'm not encouraging everyone to go out and share that stuff necessarily, we were ready. It was a year and a half later. I can't tell you how much trust that built with my audience. And so many people who came out of the woodwork sharing a similar experience. And I was like, wow, we're all got our private lives going on. You never know what's going on behind
Yes, you really do not. And I mean, when it's relatable, that is just, I mean, I think we all want that sense of connection and relatability. Like none of us are really on a pedestal. Nobody is living this perfect life and that's not to say you necessarily have to share all the, not so great part or like quote unquote negative experiences in your life. And certainly, I mean, I would not recommend sharing it as it's ongoing, but after you've had time to process it, to heal from it, to reflect on it, to learn from it, and then you have something to share from that experience, that is the key, right? As opposed to like, hey, you guys, let me just tell y'all what's going on with me. And maybe that's depending on what that thing is, like, maybe that's great. Yeah. But a life, like that's some real shit, right? Yeah. That's real.
I'm so with you. And I always say that I'm like, people might disagree with this, which is totally fine, but I'm so with you. That was a huge event. And then I had a really horrible investment last year, and I did a real series on it recently. It was a year later because I wasn't ready to share it because I was still just angry and I couldn't see the lesson. I was like, I'm just going to be like angry on Instagram. What's the point of that? Like,
there's nobody wins in that situation. Yeah. So like give yourself the time and space. And if you're feeling like, and I imagine you'd agree with this, but I'm interested in your opinion, is like, if you're feeling that, okay, well then I can't share what's going on with me right now. What do I share? Well, look back to the last few years in your business, in your life, in the context of whatever space and niche that you're involved in. what experiences did you live and what lessons did you take from those experiences? And how can that benefit your community by sharing that?
Exactly. Oh, I love that. It's like our life didn't just start now, right?
Yes.
So exactly. Go back and what were lessons even from before you started your business. There's so much that you can take from there and apply to what you're doing. So
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
relatable stories. And specifically because reels are so big right now, I know, and I'm studying them a lot and just honestly trying different stuff to be like, what's working. So just have like, you have to experiment and not be so tied down to the number with that. But two things I'm noticing across the board right now are relatable ones that when someone watches it, they're like, oh my gosh, that literally just happened to me. And it's like, for example, the Socialista, her name's Monique, obsessed with her. And
I'll have to check her out.
So good. It's like a reels queen. Did this reel about when you spend like 30 minutes putting a reel together or something, and you realize the text is, you have a typo. You can't edit it once it's up. It's so annoying.
Oh, you mean the caption?
No, the actual like text in the reel.
Okay.
Caption you can edit, but like once the reel's up,
can you edit the caption? Because I don't think I can. But okay, maybe we'll talk about that later.
You can. You just fun fact, I learned this recently. You just have to go to the reels section or the video now section and edit it from there versus the feed.
Your feed. Okay.
Yeah. So
ding,
there you go.
Thank you for that tip. Yes. Okay. So frustrating though when you can't edit the text
frustrating.
in it.
And that reel went viral for her because everyone's done that where they're like, oh my gosh, now I have to delete it and do the whole thing over again. Yes. So literally things like that are related to your niche. Start to document what are the things that every day I'm doing in my business or every day your ideal client is dealing with. Write it down, like really simple, bite-sized, funny things that are so relatable. I'm noticing the smaller, shorter ones are doing way better. And then people love stories. Like my favorite people I follow on TikTok just share really funny stories that are real. They're true stories. And the thing is, like, I think the most simplest things are the funniest. You know what I mean? It's not this whole grandiose, like huge, I think of the Jackass TV show when I say this. It doesn't need to be a big stunt.
Like, doesn't need to be all the drama.
No,
we don't need all that.
Everyday life stories are funny when you actually think about like stuff. So those are things I would lean into. And sure, you can relate it back to your business, but it's okay too to just have a couple of those, just sharing who you are. And I don't think enough people do that, especially if you're building a personal brand too.
Yes. And so many, I mean, this industry, the nature of it, right? So as a coach, as a service provider, as a professional service provider, working one-on-one with clients, or even in a group setting, your personal brand is everything, right? Because they're working with you. When they purchase from your business, when they hire for the service, it's to work with you and to be in your energy and to be in your space. And so personal brand is like, if that's not on your radar, needs to be at the forefront for sure.
100%. What can you relate to your audience on? Like, I have a puppy as of, when did we get her? May this year. I talk about her.
She's so cute.
She's the cutest. I love her so much. I'm looking at her right now. But like, I talk about her all the time, and I've had so many like dog moms message me, and they're like, oh my gosh, I love my dog too. If you're a mom of a human, right? Talk about being a mom entrepreneur, and like, that's why people are going to relate to you more so than someone who's not, right? And it's just, where are you from? Like, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies? I have signed so many clients from conversations about TV shows and books and musical theater. I can't tell you how many conversations started from that similarity, and they ended up becoming long-term clients. It's kind of crazy. So don't underestimate the power of
we're humans. I was going to say, we desire connection. You know, we're not, yes, we're engaging in business transactions, but this is not a transactional relationship purely, right? There's so much more to it than that when we're dealing with humans. Again, we're not robots. And relationships, like that's something that we've been missing out on since losing the in-person connection, right? Is like, okay, I still want to, used to network my ass off whenever, like pre-COVID, pre-motherhood, like all of that. And I would be meeting people locally on a regular basis. I would go to in-person events and conferences, and I'd be meeting people. And so that has been something that I'm like, I want to connect with others. And even the people I have connected with, how can we deepen that connection? How can we actually get to know one another? Because that's something else that I'm noticing in this space. As more people enter this space, it's like, we're not just numbers, you know, and people are not just numbers, and your audience is not just numbers or just profiles. There are people behind these profiles, people that have lived robust, complex lives, just like you and I have, you know? So totally. Connecting on that human level, I feel like is definitely the game changer.
Oh yeah. And it takes a little bit more creativity and work, but I think it also takes a little bit of bravery to show that side of you, which is scary. Sometimes it's like, oh, I can hide behind my business. But if you're a coach, especially, it's hard to do that. You're going to really struggle to have that success if you're just hiding behind your brand, right?
Yes.
Unless your brand is you, then you don't need to hide, right? Yes. I always tell people, I can't mess up. Everything's on brand for me. So it's kind of amazing that we've said that.
That's even when I mess up, it's on brand.
I'm like, I did that on purpose.
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly. All right, Meg. So what is your big message for us?
Oh my gosh. Ooh, this is such a good question. I think my big message, and this is like, my big message always is, as corny as it sounds, the more you kind of take the mask off, ironically, always with masks. Metaphorically take the mask off and truly be yourself and show those parts of you that you're like, your stomach is turning to think about showing them. You're going to open up a whole new world of opportunity. Like the second I did that, and that still applies, that applies even more today than when I did that back in 2017. My entire business changed on the drop of a hat because of that. It was like crazy how many more followers, connections, inquiries came flooding because I was like, I'm going to call out this really weird thing that's going on and make fun of it. And everything changed because I was calling out how everyone was actually feeling, just no one was saying it. So I want to encourage you to I want you to just fully be yourself and leverage those parts of you, show those parts of you that might feel a little different and weird and not like that perfect coach that you follow. They're not perfect. They're quirky too. I promise you. They're just putting it behind that pretty picture. That's my message is all over the place, but that's my message.
Oh no, that was it. I was going to say, you can drop the mic after that because that was perfect.
I was like, that makes sense.
It made total sense. Like I was going to say, just stay true to you. Be true to you. That is your superpower in business and in life. So I love it. Thank you so much, Meg, for joining. Oh, first of all, hang on. We gotta show off the Tatiana O'Hara sweater. Hey, Tatiana.
And they're delegated that. Yes.
Love it. I have the mug. I have the sweater. I'm right there with you. I love it. We're going to have, if you want to connect with Megan, all of her information is going to be in the description or the notes or the show notes of wherever you're watching, listening to, or reading this. And I want to thank you again for joining me. Thank you so much. Thank you for being you. And thank you for coming to share. And yes, just thank you.
Of course. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Talk to you soon.